Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. I know I've been making these videos quite long. I will try to make them a little bit shorter, maybe around less than 30 minutes, but we will see, right? Today we are going to be talking about a few things with NT.
Hello everyone, I've been watching all your questions.
Yeah, and so let us know how the stream is today, because I updated I've increased the what's it called, the bit rate to 4,500, and I'm wondering if we are lagging as we were before with some of the older videos. So let me know in the comment section, how is the video today. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about, is Bitcoin dead, and how we're going to know? Well, we're just going to have to read the obituaries to really know if Bitcoin's dead. And also we're going to do a little bit of TA first before we look at the obituaries and see where we can see the bottom on Bitcoin, because I don't think we're near a bottom just yet. We're probably, well, I think we're closer to a bottom than we are to the top, but still we got some time to go, I think, before we actually define a bottom, and it's gonna take some time before we see the bottom, right? Because as I showed in the previous video. All right, so with that said, we're also going to be talking about resistance coin. I'm going to show you how easy it is to mine that coin. I mean, somebody asked me, how do you mine this coin? And it's like dead simple, just like Bitcoin was in the earlier days, where it was just like download software and press mine, and that's it. You were able to mine Bitcoins. Of course, they were valued at zero, and so you had to take the risk that all those coins that you mined and created were going to be worth something one day, and it turns out they weren't. So, so those people who did mine first did very well. We're also going to talk about my what's it called, Telegram group that I have for Pandora's wallet subscribers and for my bybit subscribers as well. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned for the very end for that announcement as well. So let's get on to, before we take up too much time, on to the what's it called, technical analysis. All right, so let me just make sure that we are not blocking the screen here, and let me just move this down a little bit. There you go. Now we're not blocking. So as you can see here, right, let's just start with the short term with the 15 minutes. Bitcoin has taken a dumped yesterday to like crazy low, like $6,500, and then it bounced back up. And this is very significant. It's up here at the $7,200 level. This is very significant because this is where the 61.8 level is on a retracement from the top, the local top of 14,000. So yeah, I mean, this is where basically your bank, your investment portfolios, big investment people are buying Bitcoin to sell to you at $100,000 per Bitcoin, because they know that you only buy when prices are high and not when prices are low. So
recently in the chat we're saying, sell your bitcoins right now.
There you go.
Don't dare you. Don't dare you. The worst you can do
is don't you dare. Don't you
dare.
Sorry. That's all right. So yeah, I mean, this is what happens. People sell low, and I expect a lot of people are selling to these. If you sold here, anywhere here, you sold straight to a banker, guaranteed, and they're going to be holding those Bitcoins for a very long time. Maybe they might be selling at 20,000 or something like that. Who knows? But they'll only not be selling it down here. They'll be only selling it at a lot higher price. So let's now that we've talked about that, let's see, where is Bitcoin going in the short term, right? In the extreme short term. Well, right now we are trapped in this in a trade, what's it called, a sideways trend. And so I would say if we were on, you can see that this, you know what, I'm not going to draw a line there because that is the line in the sand there. I would say that we're trapped in this trend and we have to break out of this trend. Here, let me just move that. And so once we break, that's a general direction. Most likely it looks like we're going to go up. Because we need to get some sort of like dead cat bounce here because of all the downward pressure. And you can see that if we look at the long term, right, we're getting a little bit of green here on the weekly candle for Bitcoin. So that's always a good thing. But don't count on this. The best we can hope for is that we retest back up to the 8,500. I don't see us going up to 9,000. It is possible, but unlikely. I think we're going to have some sort of rollover and come back and go a bit lower before we see some sideways action on Bitcoin. Can we get to 10,300 and break? No. I don't see that happening before we actually have weeks and weeks of just, oh my God, this Bitcoin's boring. Oh my God, Bitcoin's not doing anything. Oh my God, Bitcoin's stable. Once we see that, that's probably when we can say, okay, well, I think we're forming some sort of bottoming pattern. And yeah, that's going to take a while. Yeah, so going back to the shorter time, let's go back to the 4 hour. Because we see some more interesting things going on in the 4 hour. We definitely see here what's called a divergence. And it's a confirmed divergence in the price. Oops, and I did not see, it did not draw. Let's see here. Let's try that again. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. All right, so there we go. We have price action going, price action, here we have price action going down, and then in the indicators we have price action going up. So we can just mark that as green, and you can see it going up. And so, and on top of that, the bonus thing, unlike other divergence that we saw lately, a 4 hour divergence that we've seen in the previous higher valuations, like at the 8,000 level. This one has been confirmed. So the odds are, what I would suggest you do, if you want to trade this, is you would set your fibs and buy the 61.8 or the 78.6, and then risk to the bottom here, the 6,500 as your stop loss, basically. So that's where I would trade, how I trade this. Now, it doesn't mean you should trade that way. Of course, you could always do a breakout trade. I just don't do that. You could always just break out. If this breaks out here, you're going to buy the breakout. If it breaks down here, you can sell the breakdown and see where it takes you. Basically, I would probably set your take profits at, of course, the 61.8 or 78.6, somewhere in between there if you're going to go short. So those are two options for how you would take a trade, and that's up to you. I would suggest you just make sure the only thing that you do is, first, if you're not a trader, don't trade. Second, if you do want to trade this, that you make sure that your losses are the smallest it could possibly be, so that you can go, that was nothing, right? And it doesn't hurt you. And so long as your losses don't hurt you, then you know you're trading correctly. All right. With that said, let's talk about Bitcoin dying. Yes, everybody knows that Bitcoin is dead. It's going to zero, and it's not coming back.
You scared me. You scare me. You losing the faith on Bitcoin? I cannot believe that. Cannot believe that.
That's not obviously with the CME futures and backed and all these scammers, real scammers, getting into it. This is not going anywhere. Bitcoin is here to stay, and it's going to change the world, in my opinion. Well, I honestly had I know I'm going to ramble on a little bit here, but I have to admit that I honestly believed that Bitcoin, without Bitcoin, before Bitcoin, that we were going into a world of basically despotism and basically government control, communist style, horrid world where the government had complete control of everybody and was killing people off, and it was a brutal kind of situation because because they have all the money and they have now all the power to because they have the power to print money, they can basically control the public, and basically that was the complete direction. And since the public did not know that gold and silver is money, it was clearly going to be like, once we hyperinflate, they're going to wipe everybody out, and basically they'd be the only ones left with the gold, silver, and real assets, and you'd have nothing. And so you'd be basically a slave to government and large corporations. And that was such a scary thought. But now with Bitcoins, things are completely different. The future of our world, even if they hyperinflate, is going to look extremely different thanks to decentralized currency. Now, let's head over to the Obituaries, right, and see what they're saying over there. Bitcoin is dying. What? It hasn't died already? It's at 77,633. Okay. Well, it's a little bit lower than that now. Right? All cryptos will disappear. All right. Global. Oh, at 8,500, it's going to disappear. Wow. Jesus. That was quick. I'd expect Bitcoin to be a lot lower for you to say that. I mean, wouldn't you think?
I don't know. Maybe for that people, $8,000 is basically nothing.
Yeah, clearly it is nothing for these guys. Right? All right, Bitcoin will be dead by 2030. Well, you know what? At least this guy has a lot of time to be wrong. RIP decentralization. Rest in peace, decentralization. Wow. Wow. Okay, so what this guy's saying is that people don't need decentralization.
People don't need to be free. People want to be slaves, of course.
Exactly. Clearly, we don't need systems that are decentralized. So from government control, we want overlords to control us because that's much better.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Let's call Maduro up.
I don't want to have control about my own life.
Yeah.
Who wants that?
No.
I don't want to have control about my own money. No. Why would I want that?
Exactly. That's insane. So that was funny. These obituaries are hilarious, man. We must come back here another day and read more about that. But anyways, let's talk about the next subject on our list here. Now that we know that obviously Bitcoin is not dying, right? I mean, come on. There's just so much potential for this particular type of technology. It's not funny, and I think all of you agree with that. And the next thing that we want to talk about, since decentralization is dying, right, or dead, as this guy has once said, is decentralized exchanges, because I think decentralized exchanges will put the knife and twist in the banking system and governments as well. because now you will, whatever currency that they come up with for you, basically you can go, okay, fine. Companies and banks can, companies and governments can only accept their government coin. Fine. I just go up with my phone. My phone has a decentralized exchange, and I just change my money, my real money, to their government coin, which is going down in value. Yeah, okay, no problem. I mean, they're finished because they can't like shut down a decentralized exchange. They can't. They can say, oh well, you can't send the money from the exchange. But then we have systems that can obfuscate that, right? So I mean, it's just a waste of time. They're completely finished with decentralized exchange. And one of these centralized exchanges that I mentioned was Resistance. Now I have this time put the link in the description below so that you can check it out. And then somebody also asked a simple question: how do I mine this coin? And it's really, really simple. I'm gonna log in, right? This is all just mined coins here. I've been mining this for quite some time, for several months now. And all you have to do is like install the software, right? Head over to settings and where is it? Manage daemons, and just hit mine. I think it's just right here, mine, right there. That's it. You can change how many CPUs you use and stuff like that for mining, right? So that you don't use up too much of your CPU usage here on the manage daemons, and then hit turn off mining. I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to turn it back on.
How many can you mine a day?
Well, it all depends, of course, with how many people are mining. When I first started with just one computer, right? I was doing I was finding one block every 3 days or so, with just one computer, which was an iMac. The Core i5. I didn't have it using all the CPUs. I had it using like half, and I was able to pull down. Approximately one block every 3 days, which is like added up to like at the time 5.9. It's 5.8 of the res coins. So now I've added a few more computers, of course, since then. And the mining, of course, is a little, I'm getting a little bit more than that, mining this with more than one computer. So you can just basically copy your wallet. If you just go to Wallet and Explorer and just copy this whole directory, and place it on every single computer that you have, and then basically, because it's the same wallet, you're mining on different computers, it'll all go to that one wallet, of course. The mining rewards. So that's it. Yeah, it's not that complicated.
And it does consume a lot of electricity?
It only uses as much electricity as your computer does. So, for example, most laptops use less than 100 watts. Like I would say they'll max out at probably to like 60 watts, 70 watts or something like that. So it's nothing. Like it's like a light bulb. Most computers would use up in energy, depending on, of course, a lot of other factors. Like, do you have a monitor that's a large monitor and so forth? And if that monitor's off, then it doesn't matter. Unless you're running the latest Ryzen AMD chipset, which takes up 260 watts. I don't think you have to worry about the amount of electricity you're using, right? I think in most cases, a light bulb, it uses up the same amount as a light bulb in your computer. So yeah, that's that. So with that said, I want to also quickly mention that if you missed it yesterday, I'm setting up a meetup to discuss a few things. Just a discussion group on basically the fact that here in Chile they want to change the constitution so that they can be exactly like Venezuela, and because teenagers want free stuff, and the only way to get free stuff is from the government, and you know how that always ends up. That always ends up with governments like Venezuela or even worse, North Korea. So let's not go there.
I mean, we're clear we must not go there, right? Are you absolutely sure you want to make it like Venezuela?
Yeah.
Or you're just supposing that it's going to be like that?
It always ends up that way because what happens is, again, there's how many people are in this country and everybody wants something for nothing. It's very quickly, what happens is the government starts to print money, and what happens is
inflation.
Yeah, and then everybody becomes
poor.
Thank you.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard to see what's going to happen, right? So you don't have to be a friggin' genius. You can be a 5-year-old to catch on to this, right? This whole scam, right? So if you want to, if you're living in the Santiago area, I'm going to be setting up a meeting, and it was just a discussion group at first, and then we can see where we can take this in order to basically prevent Chile from going in the wrong direction. All right. Now, one more thing I want to talk about. I have a private group for both bybits, people who are on my bybit link and trading off of my bybit link. I give you in this group I provide a little bit more content and a few giveaways here and there whenever I can, and also I'm going to be including my portfolio, my whole portfolio. You're going to be seeing right now. You don't see everything here on the screen, but you can see the percentage of all my different cryptocurrencies. Not every single here because I'm actually moving them into this organizing them in this application called tracking.info. I've provided a link to my portfolio to all my private subscribers. So if you wish to be one of those private subscribers, you can either check out the link in the description below to connect to Bybit. And yeah, if you have a Bybit account already, you could always just create another email account and start trading from there. And then you can be part of our group. Or you can also purchase Pandora's wallet subscription, and you can also be a part of our group, which, keep in mind, with Bitcoin price down, right? We haven't changed the price, so obviously you're getting Pandora's wallet at an extreme discount since we price it in Bitcoins. All right, now on to everybody's favorite part, questions and answer period. Yes. Nice. So what question do we have?
Okay, we can go around all of these. Okay, so 2HD3X asks, Davinci, can you explain the market cycles? A lot of people doesn't seem to understand how cycles work and why a 4-year cycle is the norm of new asset class.
I wouldn't say that the norm of new asset class other than Bitcoin. Because of Bitcoin's unique ability to cut the supply in half every 4 years, which creates this 4-year cycle that we have. What's an interesting cycle is the stock market cycle. Pretty much you can buy when it snows and sell when it goes. And year over year, you would actually do better than if you were to buy and hold the stocks in perpetuity. And that's been proven out over a long period of time, right? That the market basically moves up in the wintertime, and then during the summer, the traders basically sell everything and walk away. And so there's a little bit of a lull during the summertime because there's not enough liquidity. And that's where the cycles come in. The cycles also come from government action. So, for example, notice that we have what's tax loss selling season, because the government, the way they organize losses. For example, if you want to take a loss on a particular asset, you want to take it sooner rather than later, because if you take it later, your tax liability might be a lot higher. So, for example, let's just say you've made a lot of money on a stock, and you took the money, you sold it, right? And then you decided, nah, you know what, I want to buy back in, and you bought back in. Well, technically, you owe the IRS because you bought back in, because you sold the stock. And let's just say you made $1 million on that stock. And then that stock, you bought back in, and the stock dropped, and you lost $1 million in the same year. What happens is, if you do not observe that loss in the same year, and you hold the stock thinking, well, it's going to come back, you will have to pay taxes on the $1 million you did not win, you did not gain on, if you hold the stock and did not realize the losses for that same year, which is dumb, but this is how the government works. And thus they help create cycles like this, because now you have to sell that asset in order to show the loss on the books, so that you cannot be, because now if you gained $1 million and lost $1 million, they cancel each other out in the same year. But you have to realize the $1 million loss, or else you're going to get killed. And that's how market cycles occur, because of government and basically bad laws, basically, if you ask me. So, I mean, this law only occurs with individuals and not with corporations. Corporations can write off the loss later, even in the year afterwards. So I think that's kind of unfair, but that's the way government works.
So what else do we have?
Next question.
So P. Fisher Inc. 1 asks, you said in another video they will announce the top. How high will the next bubble go, and how will you tell it's a top? And let me guess, if a really important person, if we see price goes up again, and we see a lot of important people saying, hey, Bitcoin is going higher, that's the top, right?
That will help get you close to the top, right? Especially if you go on CNN or CNBC, and you see a lot of people talking about how, let me show you how to buy Bitcoins and how to buy crypto. Yeah, you're closer to the top. But the real, absolute, practically guaranteed way to tell the top, the actual top day, the day of the top, is that they were going to release some new a thing like an ETF that will definitely help increase the price. That's how you know we've hit the top. When that comes, right? Take a look. When we had the CME futures, that was the day of the top. And I wanted to say that, but I was not 100% confident in my call, and I wish I did. But anyways, I got close. I was like 1 week off, and so that was the exact day at the top. And if you take a look at BAT, I mean, if you sold at any point in the day, everything you got, and like set a stop loss at any previous high, you never saw it that whole day. You never saw the previous high at all. So yeah, I mean, it was clear that BAT, and I was telling Chris on MMCrypto, I really want to say that BAT was going to do going to make Bitcoins go higher, but historically that's just not the case. And the fact that it was already down, I was hoping that we would move up into a higher price range as BAC launched, because then that would have been like crystal clear what was going to happen next. Absolutely clear, right? That hey, this thing's gonna just dump like a rock. It wasn't so clear because Bitcoin was like already moving in a downwards direction, and so you were thinking, well, is it gonna go down some more? Yeah, clearly it did. Yeah, and I mean, you could have just held if you held the short, even through the big pump, crazy pump. You still wouldn't have been liquidated, or even your stop loss you wouldn't even gotten to your target entry. Put it that way. That's how crazy that the top is marked by these scammers of basically any company that comes out and says they want to support Bitcoin by providing some sort of liquidity. They are just actually scamming anyone who buys that into that liquidity. Yeah, and that's it. Legalized scam, of course.
That's how I call it. You got a scam like ETF.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Massimo Baltino asks, 90% of the people think that the market will go up after halving. But do markets act like the majority of people thinks?
Of course not, as you know, right? I mean, everybody was ready. We just finished talking about that. Everybody was thinking BAC was going to make the Bitcoin moon, and no, it did not. So, but I don't see Bitcoin taking a big dive on the halving. I think this time around, well, it depends. It's not going to be a big event, basically. I really think that we might do a run up into the halving, and then just before we get that date, it dumps. But other than that, I don't see anything big happening. But you can pretty much buy the halving and watch it ride up slowly, because it will be moving up slowly into the halving. After the halving is where things, because there's not enough supply, basically. And so, yeah, we're gonna see explosive movement in the next 2 years, basically. All right, next question. I think this is gonna be the final question today.
Gonna be the final? Okay,
yeah.
I saved the best one. So, Gursimran Bulgari, I don't know how to pronounce this.
Where is it? That's a really hard name. Yeah. It's an Indian name.
Sorry, I'm Latino, I can't. Davinci, do you still think that by March 2020 we could see the financial system collapsing, as you mentioned in your videos time back?
Oh, yes. I would like to... I think right now they're propping everything up. Everything. Any bank, any company. So eventually what's going to happen is, because they're propping everybody up, all the businesses, corporations, and so forth, major corporations at least, eventually somebody's going to figure this out and find a hole in their system of propping everybody up, so they can siphon a lot of money out through that hole. And once they because that hole, they can't really say no, you can't stop, you can't do that, because once they start siphoning the money out, they have to be smart, of course. So a corporation, if they use this siphoning hole, they have to make sure that if they cut the hole out, then it actually destroys the whole business and collapses the whole business. And then because they can't let a business collapse, they have to let them keep sucking out of that hole the money. And then, that's where we all collapse, because It would collapse in hyperinflation because they can't stop all those businesses from keep sucking the money out that the Federal Reserve and central banks are printing. And that's where I'm waiting for this to happen. I'm waiting for someone to figure this out, that, hey, they're not going to let you collapse. So screw them. Take as much money as you possibly can. Unfortunately, that's going to screw everybody else that holds dollars and holds euros and so forth. But hey, that's the system. Nothing you can do about it except hold Bitcoin and gold and silver. All right, well, thanks again, everyone, for watching today's show. I really appreciate everybody participating. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.
Bye, people.